the result of it.
Question number 3, the Leader of the Opposition, David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Prime Minister, does he stand by his statement, quote, "You can trust us. If we say we're going to do something, we do it. If we don't, we don't. That's why I've stuck to my guns and I haven't campaigned on one thing and done something different."
The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Order.
Yes. That's why we campaigned on delivered a whole range of policies that have made New Zealand a better place, including putting 600 more police on the streets, bringing in tougher bail laws, increasing elective surgery by 35,000 operations a year, shortening cancer waiting times, funding Plunkett 24/7, funding Herceptin, and boosting frontline services, including 800 more full-time permanent staff doctors and 2,000 more nurses in our DHBs.
The Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Does he stand by his statement, quote, "And I think New Zealanders will judge me on not just how I respond to the big issues of the day, but also how I treat people who are marginalised and in need"? And if so, what will he do to address inequality that has increased to the highest level ever under his government?
That's right. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes, I do stand by that statement. And if we look at the government's record, despite the very difficult economic times, we've actually run a deficit which has protected the most vulnerable people. That includes substantial working for families payments with our adjustments. That's included a program for rheumatic fever. That's included a program in a number of areas to help those who are down on their luck. So no one can really argue that this government, in very difficult economic times, hasn't made great strides to try and assist those who are least well off.
The Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Does he stand by his statement, quote, "I am proud to be the Prime Minister who takes responsibility for the fact that unemployment capped at 7% in this country"? And why is he now not taking responsibility for the fact that it's exceeded 7.3%?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, for a start off, I do take responsibility, and secondly, what I can say is that we live in a world where the international conditions are difficult. We accept that, but the government can and does do things that are within its control. And as an example of the things that we've done to try and create more jobs, we've brought in a 90-day trial period that's created more than 13,000 jobs. We've introduced a starting out wage to lower the barriers to workers, our youngest workers. We've clarified the status of an independent contractor that saw 3,000 people working on the Hobbits. We've set a 9-month time for consenting projects of national significance. We've vigorously pursued FTAs. We've reduced the cost of business of the ETS. We've increased investment in infrastructure. We've reduced the...
Order. I think the Prime Minister has given a sufficient answer. The Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you. Has he kept his promise on early childhood education that, quote, "we will keep 20 hours and maintain existing subsidies and controls"?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes, 20 hours remains.
The Leader of the Opposition.
Does he regret standing in Westpac Stadium saying, quote, "the equivalent of this entire stadium and more leaves every year to permanently live in Australia, and I'm convinced we can give them a reason and a purpose to stay, given that the only stadium in the country that could now host the numbers leaving is Eden Park"?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes, I do stand by that. And if one looks overall at migration over the period of time that National's been in office, there's more people in New Zealand than was there beforehand, but we're having a little bit of a flood, but nothing more serious than you've seen internationally. But, Mr Speaker, if we do want to spend a lot of people overseas, I guess the way to do it is to have more inflation, a capital gains tax, basically give working for families payments to beneficiaries, and have Russell Norman as Minister of Finance, which I understand is only millimetres away. The Green Party made a...
Order. The Leader of the Opposition.
Given New Zealand has the highest unemployment rate in 13 years, with the highest emigration rate ever, the worst inequality ever, and a fiscal policy that is based on selling New Zealand's assets, does he stand by his statement that if he left tomorrow, he will leave the country in better shape than he found it?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes, and a couple of things. I'm not leaving tomorrow. But then again, I'm not the one facing a vote in February.
Question number 4, Materia Tude.
Thank you, Mr.
Order.
Speaker.
I want to hear Materia Tude's question. Order.